All right, you guys, we're here. It's live at 5. I am your host, Laura Reeves, and we're talking about clubs tonight. So I decided that who better to chit chat with me about this than my young friend, Natalie Thurman, who is the brand new president of the Anatolian Shepherd Club. National Club, and also happens to be our technology guru and social media girl. So uh, she's
Aw,
wearing a lot of hats tonight. Usually she's behind the scenes. I made her put on a face and do her hair and shit.
I
So
did.
you did. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
So welcome everybody. Well, everybody's hopping on a couple items for the good of the order. Number one, if for some incredibly bizarre reason you are one of the last four people on the planet who has not heard that we've created a spin-off podcast from Pure Dog Talk called The Marty and Laura Show. Marty and I drop every Wednesday with something new and interesting and fresh, very much focused on your brothers, uncles, cousins, girlfriends getting a new dog, not specifically um, purebred or breeder focused, but really general interest. And it's so important that we be able to talk to the general public about this. So, John Q. Public Podcast, Marty and Laura Show, don't miss it. Sign up, tell all your friends, give it to all your puppy buyers. Also, with that, we've got a couple new audiobooks that are going to be dropping soon.
Yay.
Super excited, super hopeful that we can get through all the hoops. We're working on it. So that's coming. Um, what am I forgetting, Natalie? I know I forgot something. Oh, patrons. There's a new patrons podcast also. So if you are not a patron of Pure Dog Talk, please join us because we have a new Laura Unleashed podcast. And I'm very excited about the February episode of that is going to be the second half of a very cool conversation with Murphy Wildridge. So for people who are interested in hearing the whole scoop and not just half the scoop, that's where that's going to be. So puredogtalk.com/patron. Pick the level of commitment that you have to offer us, and going to get a lot of perks out of it. We've also got early access. So when the podcast drops on Monday, we get you a link to the YouTube version of it ahead of time, so you get special extra credit, which I think is a lot of fun. Natalie will send you a badge for your website. That's cool. Uh, so a lot of fun stuff on the patrons, and just really want everybody to check that out. Sorry, it's snowy here and at Natalie's, both of us. She's having more snow than me, so yeah, there you go, out the window. You can't see it at my office, but it's there. I almost didn't make it out the driveway today, but I did. So I'm super excited. I had to get my Westminster fingernails. That was
Pretty.
that was worth getting out of my driveway for. I'm not gonna lie. And a half
Good.
gallon of milk, but Um, okay. So that's what we've got for the introduction stuff. Anybody has questions? This is very interactive. I want this to be very much a conversation. It is a hot button topic right now, all about clubs, people being turned away from national clubs for membership, people leaving their national clubs membership, people complaining that their national club has no membership, right? So there's just a lot here, and I do not pretend to have all the answers. Trust me, I definitely do not. Yeah. But we can talk about it, and we can talk about some things that we can try, things that we can think about. And one of the most important resources that I have on this is one of the few just random like monologues that I've done over the course of the last 6 or 8 years. Is called "Where Have All the Clubs Gone?" It was a number of years ago. The Eugene Kennel Club had just disbanded, and this was a club that had been around for I don't remember now off the top of my head. Was it 79 years? Hang on, I've got this in my notes somewhere. 70 years. And it's just, you know, when something's been there for 70 years and it just goes away, they lost venues, they lost people, just all kinds of things that are happening across the board. And we're seeing it, sorry, we're seeing it in all of our clubs, moving venues. Everybody's local club, national club, obedience club, the volunteers are 80 plus years old, right? And so the thing that is so important is that we have got to figure out a way to make this better. We have got to figure out a way to get people to join a club, to stay a member of the club, to stay involved in the club and grow those clubs. I mean, I don't want to be all doomy and gloomy, but things are rough all around right now, y'all. And isn't anybody gonna come in and fix it but us? So I just think that we have to do that. Or what's the sad tattered remainders of a once great sport are going to drift away into the sunset. I just, this is a big deal. So
Yeah.
let's talk about some ways to fix it. Natalie, you have this brand new presidency going on of not a huge club, but
No.
a club. I mean, it's
That's
not,
so
we know that.
generous. Not a
I
huge
mean, it's
club.
fine. It's a Rotary club. It has its own different sets of struggles than the Golden Retriever Club of America, right? But they're
Yes.
still struggles. So
Yes.
let's talk about some of those. What has been your most pressing issue that you've encountered as a brand new president?
Other than the my age thing and people thinking that I can't possibly be useful at this
They think
age
you're
or
12.
generation.
Yeah.
Um I think I so my first order of business was doing a membership survey to just be like, "Hey, how satisfied are you with this aspect of the club?" And our top performer was our magazine that we send out 3 times a year.
Mhm.
People still like that. A couple years ago, we realized like basically that the membership fee itself was not covering the expense of printing and mailing 3 magazines a year. So the previous board had decided to go digital, except for one issue a
Mhm.
year,
Mhm.
which I'm sure you can imagine went over awfully with
Honest to
everyone.
God, Natalie, this is the same. I mean, every club has this fight. I'm having this fight, this conversation in the German Wirehardt Club of America. I
Yeah.
have been the president. I was the newsletter editor. I've been everything in this club that there is to do, except for treasurer, because I don't do money.
Well, ew, numbers. Yeah.
um, it's just not my gig.
But they
But
want it.
the reality is that is a common theme. So that's a thing that we could talk about. What are some common themes? Like you're running into the same exact problem.
Yeah.
How do we band together to
Yeah.
solve some of these common themes? I know there are some clubs who have tried like um joining together in like a almost a cooperative, right, of joining their printing costs together. So
Sure.
some of those things can be investigated, re-energized, those kinds of things,
I think it's going to
right?
be balanced between the print per issue and the postage per issue.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and there are a few ways that we can work down the postage issue with like prepaid,
Hmm.
systematized commercial accounts
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
mailing. But really, at the end of the day, what it came down to is when you're charging $40 for an
Hmm.
annual membership
Hmm.
and you're spending $37.54 just printing and mailing those 3 editions, you
Hmm.
either have to fix that and start charging, which is what we did. So the club
Hmm.
charges an extra, it's an add-on to your membership. Your membership includes the digital if you would like a physical copy. it's an extra $45 a
Okay.
year. People
Okay.
actually have been okay paying that.
Okay.
They want it in their hands. They want to be able to hand it to their friend. They want to be able
Hmm.
to look back on it at 3 a.m. without
They
turning on their
want their
computer.
picture in the magazine. Honest to God,
Yeah,
the people
they
advertise they
do.
want their ad. They want their picture from the national,
Yeah.
right? Like this is a treasured memory for a lot of people. And I pushed long and hard for the Wired Club to go to digital or primarily digital and got exactly the same response.
It's a great
And
idea
so
in theory because you're like, hey, it's
mhm,
less clutter in your home. It's environmentally friendly if we want to go there. It's saving a
mhm,
lot of this expense for the club. But at the end of the day, more than half our members are members of the club to get that magazine.
mhm,
So it's really, it was not the area to cut costs, if that makes sense. So we learned
right.
that. Like we live and we
Yep.
learn.
Yep.
People want it, they need it, and so we are doing that. That's fine.
Mhm,
Um, I think another issue that our club has had with is just in general the club itself is 55 years old this year. So
mhm,
it's not a baby club by any stretch, but
mhm,
we have a couple founders still alive.
mhm,
Um, and I do think that they probably feel a little disenfranchised with everything going digital and going online
mhm,
and focus
mhm,
shifting to Zoom meetings and
mhm.
website. And while that is a sign of the times and it is necessary, I feel like we may have left behind a lot of our
Mhm.
elder members who still have a lot to contribute. Um, and
Well,
so,
and they have a lot of what we call institutional knowledge, Nat.
yeah,
That's like they literally know where the bodies are buried, and we
yes.
can't lose those people. We seriously, like, I'm
Well,
serious, they know where the bodies are.
they're like, don't dig there. Yeah, so I have some plans in the works, but I would really like to get together with those people if they attend a national or over the phone, just like record some interviews with them and just kind of get their download some of their information
Mhm,
before
mhm.
either
Yeah,
medical or other ways take it from them
yeah,
or and from us. I think that's
yeah.
really important right now to remember that they are still, if they are still alive, we need to tap them and be like,
Mhm.
hey, would you be willing,
Yeah,
because they are a diminishing resource for all of these
yeah,
clubs. um,
yeah.
and then I one of the biggest like focuses of the club is supporting ethical preservation breeding.
Mhm,
um, I think our breeders list is probably the second biggest benefit to club members.
mhm.
We have not had very many people on that list. Um, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, our club has been affected by like people starting out as friends and co-owning dogs that they plan to breed together,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
fallout occurs and maybe legal
Yeah,
battles or otherwise just bad juju going on in
yeah.
amongst club members who were formerly friends who
Mhm.
are now no longer speaking. Um, it gets to the
Okay,
point.
so I'm gonna stop you right there, Natalie, because this is another thing.
Yeah,
No, I mean, this
it's
is
a big
a real
thing.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And so when we have, particularly like yours, a rare breed, right? A low entry breed, a low number breed, not a young breed, but a not a big number breed.
Yeah.
When there's six people in the club and each one of them won't talk to the other one that won't talk to the, like, I live this,
It's
and
rough.
it is really tough. So okay, action items for this one because this is huge. This is, trust me.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
this is a thing. So, what have you done? And then I'll share some of my thoughts.
so when I came in October, half of our board was stable from 2 years previous, and then half the
Mm-hmm,
board came in new with me. Some of the
mm-hmm,
new members are some of the people who don't speak to the existing board members. Um, that was really scary and intimidating for me coming
mm-hmm,
in when people already think I don't know what I'm doing to then step
mm-hmm,
into that nightmare.
mm-hmm,
So what I did was I sent out an email to the entire board before our first meeting, And I just explained, I'm like, hey, look, we're going to follow Robert's rules. We're going to cede the floor to whoever has the floor. And if you interrupt someone in the meeting, whether it to be like, especially if it's not conducive to the conversation, you'll get a warning. And if you do it again, I'm kicking you out of the meeting. And you'll have a debrief with someone else later to explain why you can't follow the rules. I literally sent that email, and it was worded nicer, but that was the gist of it, right?
Yeah,
It's like, hey,
right.
we will have order, we will be professionals, we will be kind to one another and respectful, even if we don't like each other, because it's not about us. It's about the club and the dogs, and there's a lot of work to do, and we need to do the work
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
not just
yeah.
one person doing it. So,
Yeah, it's yeah.
I believe the initial shock of receiving that email from a 30-something butthead little kid was not ideal. So maybe I should have done it a little better. However, results-wise, it's been actually great. Shockingly, setting
Results matter.
expectations, setting clear expectations, and like, hey,
Yes.
we're adults here and we're going to behave that way.
Yes.
It seems to have actually resolved a lot of underlying stuff, not their personal stuff, because that's none of my business. I
You're
don't
not
know.
going to fix that.
But
I promise you, you're not going to fix
board
that.
wise, club wise,
Right. Right.
I think they're willing to set that aside and be like, hey, I'm not me right now. I'm a board member of the club. And that's all I need. I don't need them to get along. I need them to be
I like that. I like that framing, Natalie. I'm not me right now. I'm a board member. That's beautiful framing that I think a lot of people could use. And I can share a story from when I was president of the Wire Hair Club. Also, just like you, a young whippersnapper, I was actually elected from the floor. Like I ran from the floor because of a situation. So I was like double, holy crap. And one of the things that I did, our annual meetings are held at the National, and the annual meetings were notorious for starting at 7 p.m. and ending at like godforsaken hours of the night. Like hours. Because people just stood up and screamed and yelled and ranted and raved and nobody did anything about it. So I instituted a rule at the annual meeting in which each one of the committee chairs had 5 minutes. They were given five minutes on the clock. This many. And I timed them at a stopwatch.
Yeah.
And I cut off at one point, and God forgive me, may she rest in peace. At one point, I cut off Pat Lawrence. I'm like, I'm sorry, Pat, your time's up. And she just looked at me, and I'm like, yeah, that was fun. But it worked, and the people started coming back to the board or to the annual meeting because people wouldn't come because it took forever. Like I can blow through this in an hour, y'all. Like we can have a conversation. If somebody has new business, they want to bring it up. You've got 5 minutes. Tell me what your new business is. Somebody else wants to complain about it. You got 5 minutes. Tell me what your complaint is, right? And when you, like you said, put parameters and just put structure around things, it is shocking how much you can get accomplished with that as a concept, right? So yes, love that. Okay, what else?
Ooh, what else? I think that when I was when I was just a member, not involved in the board stuff, I had no idea what they were up to or what they were doing. I think the disconnect and sometimes a lack of communication of what's happening can result in resentment from the members because they're like, you guys don't even do anything. And also resentment from the board from the side of because we do everything and we're not paid and you guys are ungrateful.
And nobody's effing listening to me, and why won't you quit asking me questions? I already told you the answer to that.
So it's anger and resentment from both sides. And given their perspective, you can see it. If you step back from like a 5,000 foot view, you're like, you're not wrong, but you're also not productive.
Yes.
So we can either be right and feel righteous and feel important and like, oh, well, if I was in the board, I would do this. Then email someone on the board and they'll put it on the agenda. Right? Um
Well, yeah. I have found that um, my other very successful technique was if I had a complainer, if I had somebody who just couldn't be happy with anything, the next thing that they complained about, I just said, okay, now you're in charge of that. Have fun.
yes. Yes. I've had a couple of those
And it
emails.
worked. They would take it, they would do it, and frequently be successful. Like, okay, so quit complaining and do the thing. Right?
Yeah.
That's from my more experienced place. So we're playing like roles here, like you're good cop, I'm bad cop.
Yeah. Well,
But
and
from my perspective, if you have a problem, step up and do the damn thing.
or at least bring solutions with you to the
No, do it.
conversation. Like, just
No,
go
no,
do it.
do it. I, I don't want to hear your solutions. I want you to go do it.
Show me.
Because here's the problem. Too many people come with, I have this problem and I want you to fix it. No, no, that's not how that works. If you have this problem, I am now deputizing you to go fix it. Done.
Maybe I'll get
Easy
stickers
peasy.
made.
Everybody's happy.
Little Anatolian
I'm
deputy
not sure that
stickers.
everybody's happy, but you know.
Yeah, well, it might make them think again before complaining about the same thing, I guess.
Well, there's two parts to that, right? So first I have to be willing to let go
Yeah.
and say,
It's hard.
go fix it. And I will promise you, not me personally. Well, okay, me sometimes. Occasionally I've been a little bit of a control freak. No, never. But you have to let go. And if you give someone a job, you have to let them do it. You can't tell them how they have to do it to be happy and make you happy and do it just according to your way of doing things. And then throw up in your hands in the air and say, these young kids, they can't do anything right. I'm going to call bullshit on that. That's not how this works. If you're going to ask someone to participate, to give them a volunteer job, just like you have a volunteer job,
Right.
and then give them the task, and they do the task, and then you ride their ass like a sweaty mule for an entire year, I promise you that person will never, ever, ever, ever volunteer for anything ever again.
No. And why would they, right? It's like no good deed goes unpunished. Like I'm trying to have like no good deed goes unrecognized. It's like
I love
see
that.
You, thank you.
Oh my.
That's really all people actually want. They don't need their name in like glittery letters on a billboard, and they don't need a parade. What they need is someone, anyone, to just say, "Hey, I saw what you did. Thank you. That was great." That's all.
I'm gonna again tell you, you are 1,000% right. I spent 4 years as president of the club, another couple of years as vice president, several more years as the new AKC Gazette columnist, judges education. Like I devoted a solid,
all the things, other than
solid 15 years to this club. At the end of that time, do you know what I received?
Get out.
My name engraved on an aluminum ashtray.
Do you smoke?
Not the point. It probably wasn't supposed to be an ashtray. It might have could have been a trivet. I don't know. But my point is the disrespect that I felt treated with left me very bitter and very disinclined to continue supporting the efforts of people who had zero effing interest in what I had already done.
Yeah.
So that is very personal experience and can be used to make better choices by other people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm sure that their intentions were in the right place to give you the ashtray. No, it was a go away gift. Well, shoot. 100%. I tried.
Good effort though, babe. I mean, I love that you are always the perky positive one of our duo. Remember the good cop, bad cop part.
I am. It's me. No.
So
Sorry, I'm dealing
I'm
with human
saying,
children and interrupting me. Out, please. Thank you.
no, hi, human children. You can't come on camera, human children, even though Auntie Laura's here. We'll talk later.
Laura's so quiet. Get out.
So
Get
so
out.
what I want to emphasize really is your point that recognizing and valuing people's time, whether you thought they did it right or not, isn't the point.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably like quality control is not a super skill of most people in dog clubs maybe, because I mean, everyone comes from a different background. There's not a whole lot of like overlap, I think, in a dog club. Although I guess at the bigger dog clubs, you probably have like 4 web designers in the club who all think they should design the web club.
No,
No. Okay. So there's not a whole lot of
I
like
don't know. Maybe in the Golden Retriever, we'll ask the GRCA people.
we should ask them. Golden Retriever people, please comment below how many conflicting
Yeah,
people you have fighting over volunteer positions.
right.
But
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
no,
Fighting
generally
over volunteer positions isn't a thing. Crawling through broken glass, begging people to do something, that's a thing.
yeah. Well, I think that actually leads into probably another common concern. It seems that like our board members are also heads of a lot of our committees.
Yeah.
And that also, from the outside looking in, looks like we're trying to control everything, or like we're like, you know, not letting go. And what actually happened there, usually, not always, but usually,
Almost
is
always.
no one else stood up. And according to our bylaws, we have to have a chair of that committee, and no one else wanted it. So a board member was like, fine, I can do that too, which results in very tired, strung out board members who are not as productive to actually do what they need to be doing when they're also running a committee or two. So I just did committee audits, which sounds like gross, but what it was sending a survey to each committee head, like each chairperson, and asking them like, hey, who is on your committee? Who responded to the last 3 emails you sent out about committee business? Who has actually shown up to a meeting in the last 3 years? Guess how many, like, percentage wise of committee members were actually responding even?
5.
Less than 50%. Like it's, and you need,
Hey, you got over 5%. You are killing it.
well, there's only
See,
like
it's
5
all about
people. It would be
perspective,
0.
man.
There's only like 5 people on a committee.
All about perspective.
Yeah, so but like they need support from the committee members. That's the whole reason there's a committee, not just a designated person. So they need support and help. When they ask for help, they need to get it. So, and our bylaws, our board has to vote out and vote in every committee member. So I'm like, let's do it all in January. So I put out the surveys in November. I was like, get these back to me before the January meeting so we can vote out the people who need to get out and vote in people you think will actually work with you. And it's like, what are your goals for 2025? Like, I'm going to check in with you. I'm setting up. I'm like, this is the audit process. I'm going to send you this exact same form in a year. Get ready and do your thing. So
I love that. That's actually really awesome. I love that kind of way of thinking about that you have set up. So 100% think that is beneficial. 100%.
Well, the incentive is then there. Like, hey, someone is going to check in with me. Because I think what happened is in having committee member or committee chairs be board members, then they don't need a board liaison. So no one is checking on them. No one is talking to them about their stuff unless they bring it to a meeting. And if you don't have progress to report, are you bringing it up at a board meeting? No, you're not. Because you don't want to be told, like, oh, you're not doing anything and called on your stuff. But, you know, like, so they just don't bring it up. So it's just a cycle of nonsense and nothing getting done. So I'm trying to help fix that, but not in a, like, you're a bad chair. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is it's not a functional committee at this point. How can we make it a functional committee?
Let's get some people.
Yeah.
Let's get some bodies.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that we are a little bit talking to the wind. Do we have any comments from anybody? I know you're trying to do 2 things at once here.
We had a comment from Shanna. I'll add it in. There, you can see that. She will happily pay for printed copies. I think most people will. If they want them,
Right.
they're like, shut up and take my
Right.
money. Give me my
Yeah.
magazine.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there are people who buy a second copy of a big
Mhm.
win ribbon to share with a co-owner or a breeder or something like that. So
Yeah.
these physical things matter. I
Yeah.
mean, let me see if I can even in no, it's down here. Yeah. Here's okay, just to give you an example. This is the fistful of national specialty catalogs from the Wire Hair Pointer National. This one is from uh, let's see. I don't even know what year this one's from. This one's from 2005, right? So there's that. This is just a few
Magazines.
of the magazines from the last, I don't know, since 1995.
The ones with your dogs in them.
No,
No. Oh.
I mean, these are things I keep for posterity, for looking
Yeah.
things up, for finding pictures of dogs, for looking up old pedigrees, for tracking down people, all that kind of stuff. It's harder to do that when you got a link in an email that was 4 computers ago.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's more accessible when you can touch it. I get that.
Yeah,
I also
yeah,
have small
and
human
that I think
children,
is the
so
biggest thing. And I fully am on board with and support the concept of digital and making people pay more for a hard copy. I mean, that makes legitimate sense to me. I also think, and this is may not be exceptionally well received out there in listener land, but I do believe it is past and long past time for most of these clubs to increase their dues. The cost of everything is really effing high. And just because I am a member of 16 different clubs or whatever, and each time I pay money, it makes me gag a little bit, doesn't mean that everybody in the club is the same, right? And so if
yeah.
your membership dues for a national club are $40, it's time to rethink that. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the things that we did with the Wire Her Club and for the magazine that we do, is we just upped the cost of the membership because nobody's there getting as a member of that club that doesn't want that magazine.
Sure.
Like nobody,
Yeah.
nobody. And so, like, all right, you want the magazine in print? Great, pay for it. And we just up the cost of the dues.
Yeah.
So, that's a thing that clubs are going to have to look at and consider and think about going forward, I think.
I think it's also online processing and online shop, online
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
application forms. We've
Mm-hmm.
used Google Forms. So I'm on the tech committee. I've been on the tech committee for the club since
Mm-hmm.
I joined, basically. So
Mm-hmm.
I was part of, our new website from now 3 years ago.
Yep.
So our now old website, which we just converted over the weekend in less than 30 hours to a new
Mm.
theme and everything. So
Nice.
we're a machine.
Nice.
Our IT team is small
Nice.
but mighty.
I like
So
it.
yeah. So but now we've moved all of our shop stuff to Shopify. What that has
Oh, wow.
what that has done is it costs us, and by us I mean me because I haven't charged the club. It's like $35 a month. What it
We've
gets
had
us,
this conversation, Natalie.
it's fine. What it gets us is shop pay.
Mm-hmm.
So someone can go on their phone, buy buy their membership renewal dues, buy a breeders list listing, make a $10 donation, and do everything in the same cart. Check out all
Mm-hmm.
together. They don't have to send individual PayPal payments, which PayPal shut down our
Mm-hmm.
account. That's another club issue. That's not really a club issue, but just so beware if you
Wow.
are trying to establish with PayPal, they are not friendly to clubs anymore, unfortunately. So,
Hmm.
but Shop Pay, what Shopify does is they have a Shop Pay option. If you have bought a purple mattress, if you have bought Berkshire sheets, if you have bought all these other products that also have Shopify
Mm-hmm.
stores,
Mm-hmm.
it is idiot proof. You say, I want this, this, and this. Check out. It has all your information, and you just click one button, and you're done. You don't have to go find your credit card. That was their biggest thing with our members, I think. They're like, oh, yeah, I had it all ready to go, and then I guess I just didn't go get my card because I got distracted. And it's like if you're checking out online, there are distractions all the time.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
it's not easy, like super stupid easy, they may not pay. So, do you
Mm-hmm.
want them to pay, or
Yeah.
do you want to like have to go track them down?
Yeah.
So I told the board, I'm like, look, it makes good sense to switch from Square over to Shopify. And now we have
Nice.
merch. So we have
Yeah.
Anatolian, like, not branded, but like with an Anatolian on
Right.
a
Right.
mug, on oh, I can show you this little bag. It's really cute. Um,
So instead of only getting merch at the National, you could have merch all the time. What?
I got it online.
We're here, club. Anybody listening?
Yeah. So it's print on demand. I don't have to hold inventory. We don't have we can order some inventory ahead of the national to have
Yeah.
on hand or for a regional.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not a huge outlay. No one has to keep
Mm-hmm.
it in their storage facility. It's actually been great. So, yeah, just like little tweaks like that, like modernizing, but we also still have we will mail a membership packet. We will mail a renewal packet. I just mailed 3 today because
Mm-hmm.
our corresponding secretary is busy this week. And I'm like, I'll do it. It's fine. So we still mail stuff to people who want it. But
Right. Right.
if you don't need it, please just fill out the dang Google form and pay with pay with a credit card, because it's so much easier for record keeping for the
Right.
volunteers doing this.
Oh yeah.
It is so
Oh
much
yeah.
easier than typing in and taking all your information off your handwritten really messy form.
That you can't read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel
So then
that.
you're like, what was their
I
information last
do.
year?
I know that this is hard. Okay. Understand that I am old enough. I am old enough to have filled out by hand my entry form, written a check, and mailed it to the superintendent's office for, I don't know, half a dozen dogs.
Oh, oh, Laura.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
So understand, Natalie, I had this conversation with somebody actually not too long ago. You're 30. So
I'm
in
37 now.
2000, okay, I know, but I'm saying in 2000 and whatever it was, 1998, when we were all just figuring out the concept of the internet, you were dawdling around in diapers.
I
And
was
so
10.
I'm saying there's an entire generation, full generation of
Yeah.
people who have grown up never having to do anything like what we did as grown up adults, right?
Yeah.
And there are still in place all of the me's. And trust me, I am a baby at 50, almost 7 years old. I am the youngest judge on most of our panels. Fact.
That's also a problem, but that's for a different day.
I understand that. But what I'm trying to say is I'm a baby. So there's another, 20 to 30 years of people older than myself
They want to mail a
who
check.
never, yeah.
They're like,
they
I don't
mail
trust the
checks,
internet.
and
They still
think
don't
that's
trust
how you
the
do
internet.
it. And they understand, right? Like they get it, they know, but it's really hard to know it and to presume it. You presume it, like you presume everything is done digitally.
Well, I know
These
it's not
people
all.
don't. I understand. You
But
know
yeah,
do you hear what I'm saying?
I would strongly prefer that.
You just don't know another way.
Well,
Right?
just get your grandkid to come over and do it for you, right? Like that's why you had kids.
No,
grandkids.
Natalie, honey, no, that's not how this works. Good
Well, none
effort,
of them
but
own
no.
dogs, right?
So my point is the conversation is multi-generational.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we need to be hearing and to focus on. This is a multi-generational sport. It crosses an entire spectrum from some of the longest term master breeders, judges, etc., to the kids in junior showmanship. We've got, unlike any other sport in the known universe, except for maybe, I don't know, cross country eventing and horses.
Yeah, like
and even there, I think
Western
there's a
pleasure,
pro-am
equestrian.
split.
Yeah.
Right. There's still a pro-am split. We're the only sport like ours where there's the age range Professionals and amateurs compete against each other throughout. It's the only sport
Yeah.
like it. So we have to figure out ways. We have to figure out ways to actually make that work. Stephanie, hi there. You might talk to Mary Albee, another one of the Norwegian Elcam people. Talk to Mary Albee. She's got some pretty cool ideas about this, and I shoot her a message. If you don't have her contact information, shoot me an email at laura@puredogtalk.com, and I'll hook you up, because in Elcams, I promise you, I know the person to talk to.
Oh yeah. I can definitely, like, if you're talking about her, like, to get up to date
Yeah.
on stuff, I'm happy to help the
Yes.
other clubs with
Yes.
like website and shop stuff.
Yep.
I think that people really do want access, especially with the weird breeds. And by weird, you know what I mean. It doesn't have to just be rare. It has to be like unavailable outside of like 3
Right.
Etsy accounts, right? So and those are usually poor examples of the breed somehow. So if you can buy it, it's trash. To have the club font like source artwork that looks like the breed, and then offer merch at like a 20% markup, so it supports club activity and it supports the owners, and having something that actually looks like their dog. It benefits everybody. It's not a power grab. It's nothing like nasty. I had some people initially bite back at it, and I was like, then it will be for me to order things, okay? Like, you don't have to order anything if you don't want it, but I'm gonna order all the things, like this stinking purse that I haven't used, by the way. It's just really pretty, and I just hang it.
It's not. I think the point, Natalie, is that the idea of providing or making available quality merchandise that the club gets a percentage of as a fundraiser is absolute genius. And
not just once
so
a year
many
at the
clubs.
National.
Right. That's my point. Okay, so you had another question, not from Stephanie, and then there was somebody else that flashed, and then I didn't see who it was.
Here you go. This one, Mary.
I still. There you go. Way to go, Mary. See?
And that's fine.
That's
and it
my
works.
girl right there. These are my people.
It works. I have never filled out an entry form. I had to fill out, I had to help Sam fill out a change form for juniors because our puppy was not behaving for him for some reason.
Right.
And that piece of paper was a struggle bus for me. Just being honest, like, I know it sounds like I'm coming in here and like I have all the answers and I know everything. Oh no.
No, but I think it is epidemic. Epidemic. It's not what word I'm looking for. It is a wonderful. Excuse me.
Endemic? Like it's in us.
No, it's not endemic either. That is illustrative. Sorry, my brain sometimes. A seriously illustrative example of the basic, generation gap we have in the sport. And the things that you're good at and the things that I'm good at are not the same things that we're good at, which is why we work well together.
That's why we're
and
friends.
Why Pure Dog Talk works and all these other things. Because if you use everybody's strengths instead of attacking everybody's weaknesses, it goes a whole lot better that way.
For sure. It is, and it's hard because when I come in with an idea, it's natural for them to be like, whoa, no. And then when they are like, we've always done it this way. That's probably one of my least favorite phrases. If you do something for a good reason, tell me the reason, not that it's how we've always done it, and that's why we do it.
Or somebody else tried to do it that way and they screwed the pooch, and so we're never going to try it again.
And you're like, were they a competent person on a scale of 1 to 10? How would you rate their general life competency?
Well, or did somebody make their life so incredibly difficult that they couldn't do it, which I have experienced.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, that is a legit thing, I think, in the clubs. I think that everyone.
I know it is.
I'm being nice, Laura. Come on. But I mean, it is.
I said legit. You're the good cop. I'm the bad cop. This works for us.
Yay! I mean, I have had experiences not just with this club, but other purebred dog people, I feel like their intention is in the good place of protecting the breed from the riffraff, from people who would do it harm, and it's a really good intention with a real crap result. It ends up
Yes.
just driving anybody who had even a mild interest away, like the hell away.
Yeah.
And it turns people in younger generations off completely,
Oh.
and then they go by a
Mm-hmm.
doodle. So
Mm-hmm.
nailed it.
It's true.
Um, yeah, and it's just
It's 100% true. I just went through a situation. I mean, this isn't clubs, but it is on the topic of we encounter in our sport, and it happens in clubs. We encounter mean girls,
mm-hmm.
mean girls TM, right? Gender neutral. Um, Mean girls don't have to be girls. Mean
No,
girls are people who want to make somebody else's life difficult for whatever reason.
for fun and
And
entertainment
for fun, it
to feel
entertains
better.
them, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had an individual. I was happened to be a dog that I had co-bred, and an individual took someone else's social media post off their Facebook page where they had been so excited because they won a major and they'd done a pet picture. It was not a very good pet picture of their dog. And this is a brand new person. This other individual posted that photo, not very flattering, of the dog on her Facebook page to say this is what happens when an alleged breeder judge puts up a dog from their co-breeder's kennel. So none of that is true. Nobody knew any of the things, but it went into a
Dog book tea
15
group.
page 15 page pylon, trashing the dog, trashing the breeders, trashing the judge, trashing all of it. In that Facebook post, there were two people saying, and this is why I don't show dogs. And the person who owns the dog is now saying she doesn't want to show dogs anymore.
Well, why? When that is the initial reception from something nice
Why would
happening, who would, right? Like, you'd have to be a glutton for punishment to want to be involved.
Well, you need to have a thick skin. All right, here's my rant. I'm just putting it here. I'm not going to put it some of the other places I was talking about putting it. I'm going to put it right here, right now. All right? We've been telling people for my entire involvement, 40 some odd years in the sport, you got to have a thick hide, you got to do this, you got to do that. Okay, I'm calling bullshit.
Yes.
I'm over it. People got a lot of things to do with their time. It's 2025, folks. And if you think that anybody, young, adult, old, is going to put up with the kind of garbage that we see routinely, to the point that the American Kennel Club had to make an entire department to address the social media abuse.
We added it to our
And
bylaws.
anybody has any question why this sport is dying?
Yeah.
Well, I'm here to tell you why. And I'm over it.
Mean.
Y'all are mean. And it's bullshit. Straight up, 100% bullshit. And I'm over it.
And it's not just to new people either.
No, they're horrible to everyone. But the new people, here's the thing. When I first started in this sport was the 80s. At the time, the American Kennel Club, late 80s, early 90s, the American Kennel Club did a study or a survey or some damn thing, and figured that every new person that came into the sport stuck around about 5 years, that was sort of the average time. Very few of them stayed past 5 years. And my estimate at this point is about 5 months, and that we're turning away 5 for every one we keep. And it is not the dogs.
No.
And it is not the judges, although that's a whole nother question. But it's the people.
Yeah,
It's
the
the people.
Standing ringside and asking a question and being treated like you're an idiot instead of
It's all of it.
and just
It's all of
answer
it.
this dang question.
Facebook for all the people trashing people on social media.
Yeah.
Period. End of It's done.
It's ugly.
Like, just be decent human beings. If you would like to ever again have a sport that is more than the 6 thick-hided rhinos that are left in this sport,
Rhinos.
y'all can have a dog show together.
But
All
you can't
6
have
of
the
you.
same breed because you guys won't get along.
I don't care. They can do whatever the hell they want. There's
Let's
only
be-
going to be 6 of them.
Let's be best in show all the time.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. No, I
So,
definitely agree.
that's my rant. That's my thing. It applies to clubs. It's a big part of why clubs are having a problem too.
It is.
But it applies across the board. And God knows I've had my moments. Everybody has. But if you make it a point and if you do it routinely and you think it's funny, we have a problem. And
Yeah.
it needs to be addressed. And so that's my rant for tonight. Okay, remember Natalie's the good cop. I'm the bad cop. Sorry, not sorry.
You're not sorry. Don't say you're sorry.
Not sorry.
I think that the biggest part is like, well, a lot of people feel, well, I'm not part of the problem. I didn't post that. I just commented. No.
Yeah.
You are part of the problem when you comment. When you feed the beast, you are part of the problem. You can literally say, hey, this isn't nice. I think you should take it down. And say it in a comment that other people can see. Don't just PM them. Because there's no accountability with
No, I did.
messaging.
I told her flat out. I'm like, I hope you're proud.
Yeah.
I hope you're proud.
Yeah.
Slow clap, man.
It's not nice.
Anyway, I don't want to stick on this and it gets my blood pressure up a little bit, so But
do you want to see a puppy? Would that help?
Stop. Just mean girls aren't cool. They're not cute. They have freaking Facebook groups about spilling tea, gossip group. Like, it is just ridiculous. And it needs to stop. And I think there's a whole lot of people in this sport, ages 80 to 8, that need to grow up a little bit. That's what I have. The end. Any other questions? I see Stephanie's got comments. Thank you, Steph, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you found this to be useful, please feel free to share it on to the rest of the world. It will be available here on the Facebook page as well as on YouTube. All of our previous Live at 5 events are available on YouTube, as well as, and I think that sometimes we forget to tell everybody this, Nat, every single one of our podcasts starting at the beginning of last year, because Laura's camera shy and hates her body. So we could talk about body shaming a whole nother time. Anyway, they are now, all of us, I've been convinced, I made myself, and they're all the ones from last year and going forward are on the YouTube channel. There's also a lot of other training videos, various and sundry useful bits of information on the YouTube channel. Check it out. It's just at Pure Dog Talk on YouTube. So that's what I have for the good of the order this evening. What do you got, Nat? Anything? Besides going off camera to yell at your children?
I'm asking them to bring me puppies because I feel like the people who hung out this long should be able to see something fuzzy.
Do we have a fuzzy puppy?
Just grab me puppies.
All right.
This is not difficult.
Which one is the boy? The white one?
Hi, Jan. Good to see you.
Laura,
grab a puppy, boys. We're hanging up. Chop chop. TikTok.
Choppy chop chop. This is why we have children, to go grab us puppies.
That's right. I don't have children. I grab my own puppy.
I'm gonna send him to your house this summer.
Okay, that's cool. I'm looking forward to it. He and Harper will have a good time. All right. Do we have a puppy? We've got people screaming for puppies.
It's coming. It's just, he doesn't move fast. You got to work on him, Laura. Would you train him, please? God.
Choppity chop, man.
Some people's kids just slow, unmotivated.
Yeah.
No, he's I think the youngest member of our club. He joined the club.
Aw, that's a really great topic. Looking at young people, junior memberships, things like that, building up your junior showmanship program, all those kind of things. There we go. Well, that's why it took him so long. It's because it's a giant. You didn't tell me it was a whole dog already, for God's sake.
It's almost 5 weeks old, Laura.
It's the size of a panda bear.
She's so cute. So she's a
He's
rough coat
so
and a
cute.
pinto. So she's a weird looking Anatolian, but all colors are equally accepted. And this is
all
an
good.
acceptable coat type. The more you know.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. There, give us back the face. That's all we care about. Look at that cute face. All right, everybody is rewarded with puppy snuggles. Thank you all. Thank you, Natalie, for helping step in with me on my topic. We appreciate you. Bye-bye. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.